Rings fans, it's your boy, your number one boy, your favorite, Knew Better Do Better, here on Voices of Arda. Got my homegirl, my co-host, the boss, the one and only, KaliCosplay, and we are about to make something really important happen. We about to do something monumental. We got a special guest. Now, I don't usually introduce the guest, but I'm going to steal this one from Kali because this is literally my favorite person on TikTok. My favorite person to look at their videos and even me, learn from them because I think they are excellent. Now, don't get a big head. I'm married. I don't love you like that, but I love you. I love your videos. Oh my God, I'm standing out right now because we got Lee in the building. Like, give us your TikTok name. Where can we find you? Let's get into all of this. Because I'm really hyped right now.
I am on TikTok. My talking account is SilmariLeanne because that was too good a pun to not use.
Yes. What was your other one? I know you changed it.
Yeah, it was talking to me, and then one day I just had this like, it came Epiphany. To me like, SilmariLeanne, why is it taking this long for me for that to come to me?
If I'm not mistaken, we got SilmariLeanne, and then SilmariLeanne. So there's two TikTokers with the play on the words there with the names.
And they're both hard to say, no matter how many times I say it.
I know. I'm just calling you Lee. Guys, I usually let Kali do the introductions, but like I said, this is my favorite Tolkien lore account. Absolutely lovely. She knows that. I love the way she just, first of all, she be fighting off y'all toxic people with a stick, and y'all always be trying to violate her, and she be putting y'all in y'all place. So y'all need to pay homage to her. Her knowledge is first rate. Absolutely magnificent. The way she puts her points across is really dope. If you're not following her, make sure you go follow her account. You know what I'm saying? She just gave you the info. She just gave you the knowledge. Please go do that.
Yeah, and I'll put the link in the description so you can
100%.
Just click that link and check her out, because we hang out with some absolute lore masters, KnewBetta. Like, we hang out with some people who know their Tolkien stuff, and every single one of them says to me, if they're ever not sure about something or if Lee corrects them, they go with Lee's answer because they like 100% like she's going to be right, and we trust her interpretations and her takes on things. So
I've been seeing lately, which is making my heart like freaking glow. Like, people have been like saying like constantly like, well, if you don't know the answer, then you ask KnewBetta or Lee. Like, and it's so funny, and I'm just like, what? It's to be in the company of greatness like that is really an honor. So it's dope having you on, and this is gonna do something unprecedented. We ain't gonna have no motherfucking subjects, none of that. We're gonna keep it lighthearted. Me and you are just gonna nerd out. Kali is gonna be the boss that she is. She's gonna direct us, ask questions. She's gonna say her stupid ass joke that I don't want to hear. I don't want nothing to do with this, but I'm sure it's coming. So we're gonna let Kali do what she does and say her joke so we can get it out of the way and we can start this nerd fest. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was working on my joke, but my car battery, I've just like been having trouble with it. My car won't start. So I'm all out of jokes, but I got a dead battery for you.
I thought that was a joke for a second.
And it's free of charge.
I thought you were reeling us into some kind of weird joke. Like, I thought you were trying to violate us, but okay. Your battery really is messed up?
My battery's messed up, so I got a dead battery for you, and it's free of charge.
Oh.
She did get us.
She did it.
She did get us. I feel ashamed.
So
I know we said we're going to keep this lighthearted, but Kali ruined it.
Oh man, like you had to say it twice.
I did.
Anyway, now I feel like I got
to
take the reins back.
Be free of it.
You know, you really got me right there. You violated me. That shit ain't funny, yo. I'm really mad at you. Like, after this, lose my number, like dead ass. Like. All right, so interesting. You got New York here, we got Canada, and then we got England right here.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So you should probably be hearing 3 different distinct accents here. So that's dope. Lee, say chips. Yo, Lee be saying stuff, and I don't know what she be talking about. But we were talking about this yesterday. We were having a nice conversation on Discord about the different slangs and the different vernaculars from different places, and even places that are right next to each other, like, you know, Long Island and then Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan and things like. They all have different dialect, but we all sound New York to people who are outside of New York. And then Lee's like, yeah, right, like right next door to, you know, somebody might not even understand what I'm saying, but they're only a few miles away, and it's just a different town. Is really cool, because I don't be knowing half the stuff she be saying, but it be sounding so amazing because she's English, and it'd be like, yo, that is, first of all, that is the illest sounding shit ever. English people make anything sound cool. Like, it doesn't matter what they're saying. They could be cursing you out. You'd be like, but I like that though. Like, you said that though. So we are literally coming off of not only seeing the Rings of Power, and me at a special screening, me and Kali, and then Lee got to go to the premiere in London.
The global premiere.
Global premiere. Like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. We're not jealous. It's fine. You know, we're from the, you know, we're in New York, you know what I'm saying? Like, New York is the biggest city in the world, like the best city. So whatever. You were in London, it's fine. Not only that, but then the show came out literally that following week. So we are just like getting bombarded with Tolkien content, wonderful events. We can all share our experiences, and we can really get into those first 2 episodes. We can get into the lore, whatever you want to do. We can just take deep dives. We don't have to like focus on one thing, because we got a lot of shit we could talk about. Just have fun. Kali will beat us with a stick if we just take too long on one thing. So don't worry about that. We're gonna make this fun. So how was your experience in London as far as seeing the first 2 episodes, and, you know, being in the presence of stars and things like that?
It was crazy. It was surreal. Like, when I was on the train coming back up north after it, I was sitting on the train being like, did that actually happen? Because it didn't feel quite real. And especially with the show, because I mean, it was like, what, 3.5 years or something since they first released the map, and like we gave our first little teasers, and to think that the show is now actually finally here. We've been waiting so long for it, and it's really surreal that, yeah, it's out now and we can watch it, and
wow. And rewatch it and rewatch it
and rewatch it and rewatch it and catch little things and
stuff like that. Look at all the details. But seeing it, so it was the first time I'd ever been to the IMAX in a cinema. And so seeing it on the IMAX, that great big massive screen that barely even all fit in my peripheral vision, was incredible.
That's awesome.
And there was, I didn't notice when I rewatched it at home on the TV, there was stuff that I didn't notice that I couldn't really make out on the smaller screen because it got lost. And that was something we talked about a lot, was how different will it be from being on a cinema screen to being on the TV. And just, yeah, I'm glad I got to see it at a cinema screen, because it was just incredible.
Yeah, we watched it on a huge screen. Kali, what was your experiences like? Was that your first time in New York? Not your first time. It was your first time.
As an adult. I mean, I've been kind of as a child and held my parents' hand and walked around with big eyes, but this was my first time, like, driving there and navigating it and cool. You know, seeing things that I'll remember, and it was like overwhelming. There was so much. New York is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah,
it's crazy.
For those that don't know, me and Kali have a wonderful internet relationship where we're partners, and we've been doing this, and we just clicked right away, and we just relate, and we fill each other's holes, if you can understand what I'm saying, like gaps, like what I'm lacking, she has, what she is lacking, she's not lacking anything. No. Apparently I have, but you know, we work real well together, but we have never met in real life until we went to the screening in New York. So that was literally one of the highlights of the trip for me. I've been to the city many times. I'm from Long Island, but I've been, you know, going to the city is like going to the store. Like we go all the time. My whole family live out there. My you know what I'm saying, my aunts and everything. So I'm always in the city all the time. So it's nothing to me to go there, but you know, it was really exciting to go there to actually get to meet Kali, and to meet the rest of the guys that I be doing trivia with. Bell, we got Belmont, Frodos, my man, the Bard of Arda, Tim. Listen, these are people that literally drive me forward doing content. You can get bogged down in this whole crazy internet thing, and you can be like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything today. They inspire me because they're always on their point. They're always on top of their game. They are always thirsting for knowledge, trying to find knowledge. They are always like on it every day. I open up this, they're asking me questions, and who did this, and where's this from, and asking trivia questions, and I'm like, damn, you guys are on it, and it's really refreshing, and it just keeps you excited. It keeps the fandom exciting, and I was really glad to meet them. I got to meet Andy. I'm a big, huge fan of hers. She's one of my favorite people on here. I always say that Lee and Andy are my favorites. Like, Andy's from Queens, so she's from the city. The first time I got to meet her, I'm a huge fan of hers. Just her personality, just the way she carries herself. She doesn't take anybody's shit. She's just so kind, genuine. Like, she's just one of my favorite people all around. So it was just an honor to meet you guys, and I just feel like it was a blessing. So my trip was enhanced exponentially by that in itself. So I'm just waiting to meet Lee. Hopefully we can meet each other coming up soon, next month or something like that.
Ooh,
and then my life will be complete. I got married last month, so now I can die happy. If I meet all my friends, I got married to my love, and we're good to go. So
that's so sweet.
I had quite a month. You know what I'm saying?
You did. You really did.
Yes.
And it's not slowing down anytime soon, I don't think. I'm sure we have trivia coming up in October, and you are both the team captains.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are the team captains. Now, if anybody doesn't remember the last trivia, we beat the dog crap out of Lee and her cohorts. So I just want to remind her that who she's messing with.
Sad nod from Lee.
No, listen. Lee did amazing. Her team did amazing. It was all good fun. They were asking some hard ass questions that
my main problem with that was because Tim, Bard of Arda, was before me. So all the questions I'd be like, oh, I know the answer to this, but it would go to Tim first and he'd get it, and it was just like,
no, I know the vibes.
Yeah, we're gonna switch that up this time so that there'll be more chances.
Yeah, I think Tim got the most right than me. Then I don't know who after that.
Oh wow, you guys broke it down into.
They broke it down.
They broke it down. They take it very seriously. Yeah.
They take it serious. They had all stats and shit. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But the one I'm most proud of though was the first tribes of the elves that awoke at KnewBettaDoBetta.
Yo, listen.
It took me ages to wrap my brains to get it, but I got it, and it was just like, so proud of that.
That's one of the things I haven't really remembered. Like I read it and I didn't remember the names yet. That hasn't happened for me yet. Those names, I got everything else, but those names, I was like, oh wow, I got to really get on. So you inspired me to get on my job. That was key.
Infamous Nocturnal doing Fingons Utuli and Aure.
Yes. Yeah. I was jealous because I could have done that too, but he beat me to it, and I was like, damn.
Do it now, what?
Bravo.
Perform it for us.
Yeah, no. There will be no performances here. So with your I love performing some stuff, but I would perform. What would you perform? That's a good question. What would you perform out of the I'd say out of any Tolkien works? What would you perform? I would perform a different part, but I'll tell you after you tell me yours.
I would do for me it would be between two. It would be either what Aragorn says at his coronation, which is also Elendil's first words arriving in Middle Earth, or it would be the Ring speech in Black Speech. Okay.
Kali?
I probably I don't know it. I should learn it, but the Albeth Gathoniel. Like the prayer to Vartha. Yeah.
I would perform one of the two things. I perform either literally I would just recite the confrontation between Sauron and Huan and Luthien on the bridge in Tol Sirion. I would recite that, or I would just I literally love, it's my favorite song or poem, whatever you want to call it, out of the Hobbit. I would Far Over the Misty Mountains Cold. I would completely say that. I literally love it. I love the Rankin and Bass version. For those who don't know, in the regular book, the verses are different from in the Rankin and Bass version. They switch a couple of verses around so the rhyme pattern works better. And I like that. I like that. It sounds better to me. So I always recite that version because as somebody who raps and writes poetry, it works better for me. I like that. You know what I'm saying? I could say it either way, but I'm like, they really saw something here. And I thought that was really interesting that they caught that and they were like, let's put this verse in front of these other two verses and it fits together better. And it doesn't ruin it, or it actually makes more sense in a way. So I love saying that.
You know, the troll song from Fellowship of the Ring that Sam sings?
That Sam sings.
Yeah. Well, I absolutely loved that when I read it as a kid, and I memorized the entire song and I had a tune for it and everything. And then recently, for the first time, I saw or heard the audio clip of Tolkien himself singing that song. And I was like, that tune's not as good as mine. Doesn't fit as well as mine.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I'm trying to like, yo, I know I'm on the spot right now, but I feel like I should like, the dwarves of yore made mighty spells while hammers fell like ringing bells in places deep with dark things sleep and hollow halls beneath the fells. Goblets they called there for themselves and harps of gold where no man delves. There lay they long and many a song was sung unheard by man or else. For ancient king and elvish lord, their many a gleaming golden hoard they shaped and wrought and light they caught, the hide on gems on hilt of sword, on silver necklaces they strung, the flowering stars on crowns they hung, the dragon fire and twisted lyre they meshed the light of moon and sun. Yo, this shit is so dope. And then you keep going, you know what I mean? But yo, that is the most, to me, that is the most beautifully written thing, because when I hear that, I'm actually seeing what exactly happened to the dwarves. And it's so funny because I was like, wow, this is really descriptive. He's really telling what happened, the history that he needs to say for people to understand what happened before and why they're going on this mission. And then Bilbo in the book is like, what? And they're like, did you not just hear what we just sung? And it's perfect. And it's just everything about that whole moment is magical, and it was amazing. And I feel the room get dark when I hear that song. When I saw that in the Hobbit that Peter Jackson made, I was like, this is going to be perfect. But they cut it off, and it just, he should have just did the whole thing, because that is the saving grace of that movie. That moment right there for me is the saving grace of that. That alone would have made me like The Hobbit, but they cut it off. So now The Hobbit fails. I don't like the movies. They're trash. But more power to each and all. To anybody who likes
happy they did the crack the cups and smash the plates. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates.
Yo.
Yeah.
Facts. We might as well talk about The Hobbit. So The Hobbit, a lot of people ask me what my favorite book is. The Hobbit is my favorite book. And a lot of people are surprised because of how deeply I know the SilmariLeanne, Unfinished Tales, The Fall of Gondolin, so on and so forth. It's not because it's the most informative or anything like that. It's the most complete story. Arc-wise, Bilbo completely changes. He has a complete adventure. You're completely invested. You're having fun. It's not too hard. Whereas SilmariLeanne is really ridiculous. So I can only talk about it with a handful of people. Like, I really go deep into it. Like, some people have read it and they're like, yeah, it's cool. I like this. But deep dive, like me, Lee, Callie, like us, we can talk about it deeply. Other people are like, oh yeah, I know about it. I read it once, but you can't read it once and fully get it. So I say that's the best work of Tolkien. This is the SilmariLeanne. I say the most necessary is the Lord of the Rings. It's the meat and potatoes. It's the one everybody should get into. But my favorite is very specific. My favorite is The Hobbit. You know what I'm saying? So I absolutely adore that, and I love the animated version. If I always suggest watching the animated Rankin and Bass version from 1977 as opposed to Peter Jackson's version, which are just bogged down by too much. They try to do too much and it doesn't go over well. They change too many things. I see what they're trying to do and they had great intentions. It just didn't end up well. It didn't end up well. Sometimes
Yeah.
Hollywood can do that. But the Rankin and Bass version, even though things are left out, they do a magnificent job of conveying the story. And you would actually get more by watching that than watching Peter Jackson's version. I promise you.
I think the problem for me with the Peter Jackson version was they tried to make it too much like Lord of the Rings, and it's not. It's very, very different. It's a different story. It's the way it's told is very different, and yeah, they tried to make it too much like Lord of the Rings, and it just didn't work. And I don't know if you remember, but after the Lord of the Rings films came out, there was a big campaign called Make the Hobbit Happen, which was people obviously wanting The Hobbit to be made into a film as well. There was a counter one called Don't Make the Hobbit Happen. And I was more in league with that one because I felt that because it is so different, and people, if they go to see a film of The Hobbit and they're expecting Lord of the Rings, they're going to be disappointed because it's not what it is. It's a very different book. Like, I would have been very interested to have seen what Guillermo del Toro would have made of The Hobbit, because then with obviously it being a different director, it would have been different, presumably. And I think that would have benefited it because, as I say, Peter Jackson was just doing what Peter Jackson does, which worked amazingly with something with the scope of Lord of the Rings, but with The Hobbit just didn't. And then there was the studios sticking their nose in with the whole love triangle and all that.
They were trying to do too much. Like, I saw glimpses of greatness, but then it would just be followed by like just debauchery, like foolishness,
antics, and
like like Goblin Town is one of my favorite parts, and they just did the orcs so terribly, the goblins, that it was just like, this is not even funny, or it's supposed
I can't even look at them.
I can't look at this. They look ridiculous. They can't be taken serious, and like it's just like I appreciated that in the extended version they did the down to Goblin Town song. I appreciated that, but the goblins looked at like, and it was like Three Stooges, like like the comedy, like them fighting. It was like, what is, like, they really fear Glamdring and they fear Orcrist, and they were really fighting in the tunnels, and it was like they could have made that really epic, and they did, and it was just a failure. They did some parts well. Riddles in the Dark was cool. I thought the addition of Azog was the worst possible thing on the face of the earth, because you're doing something trying to make drama when the drama's already there. Balg is alive. Balg could have been doing what Azog was doing. So just use Balg, and it wouldn't be, nobody would have a problem. Nobody would be like, that guy wasn't dead hundreds of years ago. Nobody would have had that to say. Now, you could have shown Azog fighting in the flashback, and that was cool. But then you just ruin it by trying to, you just mess it up, changing too much things. I did not like when Smaug saw Bilbo. I really I got up and I went to walk out of the movie theater, but I realized I wasn't driving, so I couldn't. And I had to sit back down. Because Smaug never sees Bilbo. Bilbo keeps the ring on, obviously, of course. And then he runs out of the tunnel, and the dwarves never see Smaug, except for when he comes around the mountain. But they don't go in, there's no fight. And I understand, okay, make it exciting. But the tension from them being scared to death in the tunnel and not knowing whether they want to survive, imagine that. They don't know, they try too much, but they overthink things. Like, they were overthinking the entire movie when they could have made it, they could have slimmed it down, kept what was actually in there, the meat and potatoes was in there. They could have added the necromancer stuff because that did happen. I understand certain parts of that, except for the Grave and Angmar, that, which is the dumbest, that literally doesn't make any sense.
No, that was
the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. I'm like, what? There's no grave there. He didn't die. What are you talking about? He died, but he didn't get buried. Like, what are you talking? That's the whole point. What? Who wrote that? That literally is backwards. Lee, please explain that, because I'm about to explode.
He really is. Let's let him get his heart rate down a little bit.
So the ring wraiths were people, and they became wraiths over time, but they didn't die. Like, that's the whole point. They don't die. They keep existing to the point where now their bodies have worn away and stuff, but their souls are bound to their rings and to therefore Sauron. So they were never ever any point buried, and not in some like weird upper mountain. Just, yeah, that was just,
especially not in Angmar, because
no,
he had already been a witch king at that point.
He was already by that point. He'd already
got driven off.
All that, yeah. So what were they trying to bury? Like, just
I was like, what are they talking about? I had no clue. I'm like, what? The High Fells in Angmar? What are you trying?
It was so like, what is happening?
I think they screwed up beyond bad.
Yeah.
I just, oh man. And Bard was the biggest disappointment for me.
Really?
Bard, they made Bard like a Han Solo character.
Mm.
He was a smuggler, like blah blah.
Yeah.
Bard is a bowman. He was a really he was steadfast. He was the one that believed in the portents and believed in the old stories, and he's the one that kept on point. He kept everybody else together. That Bard was just like sneaky, let's sneak you in here. Man, I'm a smuggle guy. Okay, I'm doing what's right now because it's got to be done. But it was just dumb. It's very Han Solo-esque, and it was like, no, that's not Bard. Bard was always on point. He was always that guy. He always was about the right thing. He stood for what he wanted for his people. He didn't care about what the dwarves thought. He didn't care about nothing. He accepted help from the Elf King because they gave it. But he was like, listen, I'm the rightful heir from Gideon, but let's just help my people. That's what needs to be done. He wasn't being selfish. He didn't try to ask for more than he deserved. He just was just straight up dude. And even the crow was like, yo, if I was you, I would treat him good because he's a good guy. Like, and he tells that to Thorin, and Thorin, he's an asshole because Thorin's an asshole. But that's the best part about Thorin, that he's an asshole, which is fun. I thought they played him a little young in The Hobbit, but whatever. It is what it is. That one is what it is. But you know.
And I thought there were some parts too. Like, I totally get your point about Smaug not seeing Bilbo, but I can also kind of see from the filmmaker's perspective, they wanted to have Bilbo and Smaug like on screen together to do that. So I get that. Apart from that, I think Smaug himself was very, very well done. I thought he looked amazing. And the whole scene with him and Bilbo was great. As you say as well, Riddles in the Dark was brilliant. In terms of the look, Thranduil was amazing. I don't like a lot of the changes to his character.
I don't like them either.
It's like, so in the film, like the Thranduil, all he cares about is the elves. He's like weirdly racist about the Sylvan elves with that whole, he wouldn't let a lowly Sylvan elf pledge yourself to his son. And then that orc where he promises he'll free it if it tells him, so it tells him and then he kills it. And it's like, this is the same guy who in the books couldn't bear to keep Gollum imprisoned. You know,
absolutely.
Like, oh no, we couldn't cope with keeping a living thing caged up, so we let him go. It's like, that was Thranduil's, or this is the same guy, and you've turned him into. I guess they wanted extra conflict or whatever there, but it's like, oh.
And they try to give him a twinge of Thingol. They were trying really hard to make, because they couldn't.
I get, because like the whole thing is, Thranduil's underground city, what he did base it on Menegroth. So there are a lot of similarities between Thranduil and Thingol, but not so much in personality. And they were
not so much. And you saw that the necklace of the dwarves thing, they were trying to mirror the Nauglamir, and
and it's like, if anybody knows like the problems that can be caused by coveting jewelry, it's Thranduil, because there is a very good chance he was in Doriath when all that happened.
He probably was. He probably was there, or at least his father at the very least.
Yeah.
Orpher definitely was probably there.
Orpher was definitely there.
Definitely there. So
yeah, it's like
interesting. So these are all things like lore masters speak about the Hobbit, where we go deep diving into it, and it's not just based. We're not just basically looking at it like overall, because I know that overall, if somebody never read the books and weren't at deep into the lore like us, then it's a great film for them. They love it. It's fun, funny, all that stuff. But it if you read the Hobbit and you're like really into it, it kind of I don't know, it hurts, it takes things away from what I love about it. But I love that it gets people into the Lord of the Rings. It gets people into it. So I love that about it.
What did you think about them giving Thranduil the scars and talking about the dragons of the north? And
that was the dumbest thing ever. I didn't like it. No,
because the implications there makes you think, okay, so if he has these horrible scars from a dragon, when has he fought a dragon? And I guess they're saying, like, because obviously we know that the forces of Doriath never like joined in with the other elves in the wars. So the only time it could be would be potentially the War of Wrath.
I don't know what they were alluding to. The dwarves are the only ones that go to war with the dragons.
Yeah, it's just because obviously Melkor had dragons, and he
I'm meaning after. I mean Third Age. So
yeah, I just like wondering where they're saying he would have got dragon scars from. Like when it must have been like War of Wrath or
possibly
something. But it was just like, well, what kind of magic is he even using to keep that hidden?
That was very confusing for a lot of people.
And I was like, I don't like this. And
that's not a kind of magic that elves can do. It's like, it's no wonder sometimes that people are very confused about the magic in Tolkien when the films are doing stuff like that. Like, they don't have concealment charms to hide their
absolutely.
That was strange, but
apparently. Well, you know what? I'm gonna challenge you there. I'm gonna challenge you and say they do, because Finrod Felagund definitely disguised, and so did Luthien, but we can argue Luthien is more than else.
They did.
Finrod disguised all of them as orcs, and Sauron saw orcs, but he just knew that they didn't check in, so he was like, "What?" And then he stripped away their disguises with his magic. So I'm gonna say they can. I'm gonna say they can, Lee. I'm gonna say they can.
Okay. But then it's just like there are a lot of other elves who have scars and stuff that never.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that because of the time they were written in, they have different parts that don't really fit with the rest of the Legend. So like most of The Hobbit, to be fair, has so much in it that just doesn't fit in with the rest of the Legend because it initially wasn't part of it. And then like it's the stuff from the Lay of Leithian, so Beren and Luthien stuff. Again, a lot of that doesn't really fit with a lot of it, like that concealment stuff. So we know Luthien had it, and there's a reason why Luthien had it, because she's half Maya. But then so why would Finrod be able to do it, yet we never really see any other elf being able to do anything similar? You see what I mean? It's like it is there, it's definitely there in that story, but it's like, does it really fit with the rest of it?
That's interesting. Some might argue maybe the power of Finrod because of how high he is as an elf. Maybe he had it. I know the Fingolfin line was more a fighter-based, less magic line. You know what I'm saying? So like I think the most magical line was the Finarfin line, where
I guess Galadriel certainly has some knowledge as well. I mean, she makes the Phial of Galadriel, which is literally like capturing the light of a Silmaril in water, and then but then I guess that could also be put down to Noldering technology. So it's like, what's magic and what's just Noldering technology and know-how. That's a blurry line.
And an interesting bringing up Galadriel was very interesting, because she's the one in the Fellowship of the Ring that when Sam was like, I want to see elf magic, and she's like, I don't know what elf magic is, but this is just what I fucking do. Like, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? So that's really cool.
The Noldor, that's just like, I mean, some of the things that obviously Feanor and capturing the Silmarils. It's like, that sounds magical, but what he did wasn't magic. It was just skill and craftsmanship. And I think that kind of Noldorine knowledge and skill, which is what Galadriel does as well with the Light of Yarendil. And I mean, there's loads of things Fëanor did. Like he basically invented the Palantiri.
Yeah.
And it's like, how the hell
do you do that? and that's one of the things. Like, even the gods were like, yo, how did you do that? Type shit. Like, so that is one of the things about Fëanor that I admire, even though I can't stand his motherfucking ass. I that is one of the things I admire. I'm like, how did you do that? So he definitely was
and he invented, basically they used them as a light source, where it was like stones that glowed. And so they had, lanterns and lamps that were
Fëanorian lamps.
Yeah, exactly.
And we see those used a couple of times throughout the story. Tuor had one, right?
I think so.
Yeah, when he went to Gondolin.
Yeah, when he went to Gondolin. Oh my God! Don't talk about Gondolin.
I'm sorry.
So Gondolin is my favorite place.
It's too soon.
Gondolin is absolutely my favorite place. So guys, go check that out. The Fall of Gondolin. Where is your favorite place, Lee? And also, Kali, what is your favorite place?
Oh man.
We have to pick one.
You gotta pick one. My absolute favorite place, unequivocally, is Gondolin. So now I'm putting Lee on the spot. What's your favorite? And I'm putting you on the spot, Kali. What's your favorite place?
I think my heart has a special place for the Forest of Neldoreth, just because it's where Luthien danced and met Beren.
Yeah.
And that's just
where Luthien was born too.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I guess, I've always been curious about Doriath and how it was hidden, and the girdle of Melian and what that would be like. And when I look at the maps and I read the stories, I think that inspires the most curiosity to me.
Awesome. And then we have that wonderful flowing Esgalduin through it. And the way, when you read the Silmarillion, the way they talk about the Esgalduin it sounds magical, and it's really dope. So you guys are picking some wonderful places right there. But to talk about Neldoreth, my man was spying on Beren and Luthien in Neldoreth, and he snitched on him. So that's the one bad thing about Neldoreth is Daeron is a scumbag. He's a pervert and a scumbag. I hate him.
Then there's all about this. There seems to be a thing with minstrels, right? So Daeron betrays Luthien like that, and then he feels
multiple times.
And then he feels so guilty about it afterwards that he just goes off wandering. And then Maglor, at the end, he's got rid of his Silmaril, and then he's filled with so much grief that he just goes off wandering. And I just love the idea that Daeron and Maglor at some point bump into each other, and they just write some really sad songs.
Really sad
they just have
songs.
An epic rap battle.
They form a little duo band, and they just play really sad songs. And then maybe at some point Nimrodel, because she's lost as well, comes along and she can do some singing for them.
Nimrodel is dead. She was killed. Nimrodel is gone.
We don't know that.
She's 100% gone. So it's funny you bring up Nimrodel. See, we can just go down rabbit holes here. When you bring up Nimrodel, obviously I think of Amroth. And immediately when I think of Amroth, I think of Galadriel jumping off the boat and trying to swim back to freaking Middle Earth. And I'm like, if Amroth can't swim back to shore that he saw the shore, he was right off the shore, even though it was a storm, Galadriel definitely would have drowned. There's no freaking way. I was like, what are they doing? Swimming from Valinor to Middle Earth, get out of here.
Yeah,
no.
that was
Yeah, that was a lot. But I absolutely love the new show. I love the new show. I have my problems with certain little parts of it, but overall, I know what they're trying to do. I know what they can do. Yeah. So I go off that. I don't go off of, I want to be the lore expert, because then I would never enjoy anything. And I'm trying to learn from how I felt about The Hobbit. You know what I'm saying? Because other people really enjoy it, and I love that joy from them. So I don't want to be like that. And who am I to do that? just because I read a little more or not, but whatever.
Yeah.
I know what they're trying to do. That's great what they're doing with what they can do. So that's it. And I enjoy it and I love it. You know what I'm saying? Are there problems? If I want to nitpick, anybody could nitpick anything. I could nitpick Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings to death. And then I could make myself hate it if I really wanted to, but I enjoy it.
When the Lord of the Rings films came out, there was people that hated them with a very similar ferocity to what hate the show now, and talk about, oh no, it's butchering the story and they've ruined this character and, you know, desecrated this character. And it's like, it was the same sort of reaction. And now people hold those films up on a pedestal as if, you know, they're untouchable, they're just perfection. It's like, no, there's actually a lot wrong with them. I think the difference is that we got used to them. Yeah. And we got to a point where we can, you know, just say, yeah, they're adaptations, they're doing their own thing, and we got used to the changes. And for me, it's like, I'm at the point now with Rings of Power where I like a lot of it. There is a lot I dislike, but I know that with time, I'll get over that. I'll get used to it, and then I'll be fine with it. It's just, it's just something that's going to take time.
Take time. You're going to get invested to the story that they're giving us. We're going to get invested into that.
Yeah.
Whether we want to or not. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it on its own merits in the same way that we did with the Peter Jackson films. Because, you know, when we're first seeing them and it's sort of like Arda turns up and you're like, what the hell? You know, you get used to it and you see it works. Then in some respects, it actually works better because the whole Glorfindel wouldn't have translated well to film, because you can't introduce this amazing, powerful, brilliant character and then never have him appear again.
People are gonna be like, what? Why? Well, why didn't there would have been the whole eagle fly to Mordor, but why didn't Glorfindel go on the thing? Even though they explain it in the book, but you can't explain something like that in film sometimes. You can't
yeah, exactly. Some things that work in written form don't translate well to film. It's like this thing with Galadriel now in the show. People are saying, oh, but this isn't her character. And basically what they're doing, they've moved her character arc. So we know that when she first left Aman, it was because she was driven and independent and rebellious, and she wanted her own place and all that. And then we know by the second age, she, in the books, you know, she calmed down, she'd settled now. But to tell this story, all they've done is take that Galadriel and moved it to the second age. So we get to see her story. And also, you've got to bear in mind, Galadriel doesn't actually really do anything in the second age. So, you know, so it's just like, it's still Galadriel. It's just the Galadriel that we're used to knowing from the first age, and they've moved it, but it still fits with her character.
Yeah. Which a lot of people don't know that character of. A lot of people have just not read the SilmariLeanne, which is fair because it's a very difficult book to read. But you know, that's why we're here. That we're here to help them understand the folly of their ways. You know what I'm saying? And even though it's very tiring arguing back and forth, and it can be stressful, and I know you've been stressed out. You know, people been in your comments and this, that, and the third. Don't feed the trolls. Tell the people that are willing to listen, you know, hey, this is how it is. Just put your foot down. Your content alone shows how much of a lore master you are. So don't feed the trolls. I've told Kali this, like, people are going to say crazy shit to you. Just keep existing is going to make them mad. Just laugh it off. Block the ones who just want to troll and be super, block them, because they're just there to just agitate you. Just block them and keep making your tremendous, wonderful content. And look at this. You got to go to the thing. Look at Kali. She got to meet me. Like, that's like me and Jesus. I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. But so many good things come of this, and not their presence and their nonsense, and it's not stopping anybody from doing anything.
Yeah.
We are doing amazing things, you know what I'm saying? So just bump them, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to stop making videos to ones that I can really nail them to the wall. I enjoy doing that. I made one yesterday. This guy said some crazy, what? You sound stupid. Then you just give them the receipts, and then everybody's looking at them like, you look dumb now, because this is actually being read from the book and you're just talking. And it makes me laugh. Some people don't care if you read the book. They just want to, you know what I'm saying, see you fall, like on some Joker shit. Then you just block them. just block them. They go away. They can't see your videos no more. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we keep it.
People have been picking off about the fact that Caliborn's not in it, and I was disappointed by that, because at first I just went in with the assumption, well, yeah, by the second age she's married, so she'll be married. But now I see what they're doing. So again, what I was saying about Galadriel before leaving Arman, you know, she's very driven, very independent, hot-headed, rebellious, and so on. And then she gets to Middle Earth, she gets to Doriath, she meets Celeborn, and she starts to realize, you know, there are other ways of living. And so I think Celeborn was definitely a part of that for her. So again, they're going to probably do the same thing. They're just moving it to the second age so we get to see it. So Celeborn is going to turn up, and it's probably going to be a big part of Galadriel's arc of her, you know, realizing that she can fight her fight in a different way. You know what I mean? And I'm really looking forward to that, because my first thought was I really wanted to see Elrond and Celebrian, Galadriel and Celeborn's daughter. I wanted to see their courtship because I thought that would have been adorable.
Be nice to see Elrond happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But instead, we're going to get Galadriel and Celeborn, which I'm actually really excited about seeing now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Galadriel and Celeborn are relationship goals. They are honestly probably my favorite couple in the entire thing, because they have that depth of love and that support of each other. The fact that her very name, Galadriel, that she then goes by for the rest of her life, was a nickname that he gave her in Doriath. And I love them so much, and I'm so excited now to see Celeborn and to see their romance happening.
Now I'm excited too.
Yeah, no, it's dope.
That was so
I'm
sweet.
For that too. I'm excited to see Círdan in the second season. I'm so glad they announced that, to see the oldest elf on Earth. To see Círdan is a very interesting character. He's like very important, but you wouldn't know it if you weren't paying attention how important he is. So he, like, Elrond was raised by Maglor, but he also was raised by Círdan after the fact. Gil-galad was raised by Círdan.
Gil-galad was raised by Círdan, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's these important, huge. So he has to have a wealth of knowledge. So many cool things came from Círdan. Círdan was fighting in the wars. Círdan, so many things survived because of Círdan. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got to see everything. He knows histories beyond histories. Like, imagine the lore and the knowledge that he has. He talked to Ase. He learned how to make ships and everything from Ase. Like, that's crazy. Like, they learned to sail from literally the Maya of the sea. Like, that's awesome. You know, it was just amazing. He has his own peoples, but they're also connected. He knew all these great elves. He knew he can speak to knowing Fingon, knowing Turgon. Turgon commissioned him to make ships. Commissioned him to make ships. How dope is that? You know what I'm saying? He's the one who sent the dwarves the pearl, the great pearl, Nymphalos. He sent that as a gift to Thingol, and then Thingol gave it to the dwarves. Like, imagine that. Like, that's dope. Like, something so rich in history, something lost to the ages, but he was a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the havens being destroyed. He can literally tell every part of everything. He's been in the battles. He's been everywhere. He's someone where he can tell it from a perspective of, you know, victory, of defeat, of, you know, just watching, of learning, of everything, from every kind of angle he can tell a story from. And Círdan is really underrated. So the fact that he gives his ring to Gandalf when he arrives, that speaks to his knowledge, and that speaks to him just being like, you know what, it's our time is waning now. It's time for them to, you know, here, I'm such a good judge of character now, and I know your vibes, that I'm going to give you this hugely important thing. I'm going to entrust it to you because I've been through the ages. I know what this is about. I know what's going on. I know to just trust these people's in your fate, like, to you. Let's go. And he does that, and he sits back and he waits for his turn to finally, at the end of everything, he finally returns to goes to Valinor for the first time, not returns. He goes for the first time. Finally, he's the last person to go, and deservedly so.
This really sad thing about him as well is that he really, really, really wanted to go to Valinor. Like, he was properly excited, but then Thingol went missing and he wouldn't leave without Thingol, even though he desperately wanted to go. He wouldn't leave without Thingol. And then obviously by the time Thingol comes out of his little trance, it's been 210 years. And someone was saying this on a comment, it's like, oh, they missed the boat. And it's like, well, it wasn't really a boat. It was
an
an island that Ulmo was pushing across the ocean and back. Yeah, they missed, let's just call it the ferry. They missed the ferry.
The ferry.
And so then it's like, you know, thousands and thousands of years, and he's one of the last ones to leave. And yeah, it's so like the fact that he was there at Creevyanen as well.
Yeah,
like, he's the only one. It's certainly in Middle Earth.
It's certainly
At that point, whoever saw Creevyanen, he's been there since the beginning.
And then he's the only one that can look at the dwarves and be like, nice beard. Mine's is nice too.
Yeah.
You know, he's the only one that can do that. So Círdan is a mighty elf. It says that in the Silmarillion that the elves don't, you know, their age doesn't dim their strength. So they're actually like retain their mighty strength from the older they are, like they're strong. And Círdan must be hella strong. Like, you know, Círdan is probably a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, Círdan is, but he's just like so laid back. Like, he's probably just like one of the old people that's just like, yeah, I done been through everything. He's not scared of shit. He doesn't even deal with things. Yeah, y'all go handle that. I'll be right here. I'll be ferrying y'all back across the sea and everything. I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to see Círdan and hear his wisdom.
Him as well.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they're putting him in it.
Yeah, they have to. And I was asked the question on Twitter the other day, when the freak are we going to see Narvi? Like, what is going on? Like,
yeah, no, I know. This is the thing I was thinking as well, because obviously it's Celebrimbor and Narvi who make the doors of Durin, the very famous doors into Moria. And it's Celebrimbor who has this like best mates relationship with the dwarves. So it's like, when are we going to, I assume that will come later. Like,
maybe,
I mean, we saw in the show, Celebrimbor was very, very curious and really wanted to go in and see. So hopefully now Elrond's made his peace and stuff, Celebrimbor will get in there and he'll meet Narvi, and we'll get that great little friendship going.
Yeah. I can't wait. That was one of the most things I wanted to see most. So we got a lot of cool stuff that they're able to do, and hopefully they've been giving us little bits and pieces of things that really excite, you know. For all the things wrong, I gotta say there are little glimpses of things like Baron and Luthien statue, like the fell beast or the dragon, whatever one you want to call it, fighting the eagle, like things that the spider webs on the two trees, Morgoth's shadow, Sauron. Seeing Sauron, I almost got up and punched somebody in the face. I was so excited. Like, that's my guy. That's my dude. Like, y'all don't understand how I revere Sauron. Like, I don't let no slander go by this man. Like, you don't understand. Like, he is that dude. And I just to see him and see legions and legions of orcs, and he just standing there like, yeah, I'm like, I'm still here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it means everything if you read the text. Like, you cannot get rid of this motherfucker. He's a cockroach. Like, you cannot stop him. Like, even when he loses, he still is plotting and scheming and biding his time. And you gotta respect it. You have to respect his grind, his gangster. Like, it's so dope. Like, I love Sauron. I think Sauron is a better villain than Morgoth. Morgoth just does shit. Morgoth is like a big crybaby bully like type of shit. Where Sauron is like, all right, you got it. He's the person that's going to come back and hit you in the back of the head with a stick when you ain't paying attention. Like, Sauron is going to get you. Whereas Morgoth is just going to throw his full weight at you, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like a rhinoceros. And then, you know what I'm saying? He's going to eventually lose by doing that.
How I always compare them is Morgoth is more like the child at the beach who gets annoyed that another kid's sandcastle looks better than his. So his response is to go and just stomp all over their sandcastle. That's Morgoth. You know, he has that kind of he just wants to destroy, whereas Sauron wants to dominate. Sauron wants to rule. Morgoth just wants to destroy, basically.
They're both really cruel, but Sauron is cruel. He is a mean motherfucker.
Like he is clever about it. He is deceitful and clever, and yeah, that's why I love him. He's my favorite villain in anything, because he's just so, yeah.
Like him and the witch. I hold the Witch King in that regard to a certain extent too, where like I would say the Witch King is my favorite. There's a mysterious aura around the Witch King, and just the way that he gets things done, and the fear that they have of the Witch King is really potent. And Gandalf is just the way he describes, like, yo, if they're behind him, like, I don't know. Like, even the wise fear them. Like, when he comes around, like, he like got things done. Like, look how he destroyed Angmar. Look how he broke the line of kings. Look at what he's doing. Like, look, he's like Sauron 2.0. Like, this is crazy. Like, it's like it's having them work together, and Sauron knows how to use his chess pieces so well. Like, so well. Like, literally, if Mary didn't stab that man in the back of the knee, like, they was gonna lose. Like, when he came, it describes the fear that the rest of they was like, this is it. Like, they were scared, they were running off. Like, it was when he came, they were like, oh shit, man, this shit has got serious. Like, I love when he's leaving Minas Morgul and he's on his horse. I know a lot of depictions have him on the fell beast, but he's on a horse in the books. And they're hiding up on the stairs of Cirith Ungol, the stair to the past. And he second guesses himself. And I'm like, stupid, why? Like, come on, my guy, use that guy.
Them,
he's like, yo, like, but he has a duty to do. And he's like, shit, like, I gotta do my duty, but something ain't right. But he's kind of hoping that, I guess, he's like, Shelob or something will, whatever's happening right now is gonna, there's no way, the cockiness in him or whatever, he's just like, all right, I gotta go, this is the more important, this chess piece right here, destroying Minas Tirith is more important, you know what I'm saying? But he really was like, and I love that little, it's scary as hell. It's like, yo, it's, you know, he's not gonna find them, but you're scared, like, you know what I'm saying? I love that little piece.
It's why I think, like, a big part of Sauron's eventual downfall was his pride, the fact that it never occurred to him that they would try to destroy the ring. He was absolutely certain that they would try to use it, which of course is what he wanted, because he is the ring and the ring is him. So anyone using it ends up doing his will. But yeah, that's why, so like when you say in that, the Witch King's like, hold on a minute. But then he's like, no, it can't be. That can't be, because they wouldn't, you know.
Yeah, it's like, no, nah.
Like and I just like thinking about the moment when Sauron senses Frodo put it on, at the cracks of doom, and just oh shit. That must have been
like, that must have been crazy. Like, just so many stories and things we could talk about from, you know, those films and everything. Some of the favorite parts, like, I know they switched some lines, but I thought it was excellent that they switched the line of Éomer and Theoden, when Éomer is the one that says death, 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 and they gave it to Theoden, and that was actually perfect movie move. That was perfect. That was an amazing swap. That one worked. That is the most, in all television history, the Ride of the Royal Hero gets me the hypest out of any part.
That's my favorite scene from any film ever. And no matter how many times I watch it, and all these years later, the hairs on the back of my neck still stand on end. It's just so, oh my God.
Yeah, we were talking about this in another podcast. We like, Theoden comes into his own right then, because he's struggling with, you know, the histories of his kings and their great wars that they fought in, and what was his legacy going to be. And he's like, I'm not going to leave Gondor for stuck like that. But he looks, and if you know from the book, I know it makes it look really cool. They got 7,000 riders and it looks so crazy. They could not really win they couldn't win. And he was just like, I don't care. We gonna fight anyway, and they gonna remember, this is gonna be written down and sung in songs. We going out, like, we gonna ring bells. And he was like, fear no darkness, like, we're gonna go. And they do a really good job of conveying how
great a king and how great
Yeah.
a leader he was in that scene, because he's terrified and all his soldiers are absolutely terrified.
Yep.
But he does that speech and he sings that and they're all shouting death. They know what they're going to, but they know they've got a reason. And if they die, they'll die doing the best thing, which is fighting this horrible, evil thing.
And keeping their oath.
Yeah.
Keeping their oath. That was important to them.
The way he gets that and gets his soldiers to a point where they can do that charge is just like, that's amazing. A king, man. That's a king. That is a leader. Yeah. He's terrified himself, but he still does it, you know?
Yeah, I know for those out there watching, we can get into some more lore nerd shit, right? Watching. I know you're looking right now, you're like, well, they did very good against the armies of the orcs at Minas Tirith. What are you talking about? They would have lost. They were outnumbered ridiculously. Cavalry is always going to overshadow anyone on foot. So they're going to do amazing. But that's exactly what happened. They got there, they did initially great, and then they started getting beaten back, and then they do great, and then the Haradrim came.
They did show that really well in the film.
Really well, back and forth.
The look on Theoden's face when they see the Oliphants come in. But even then, he's still going, rally to me, rally to me.
Yes. Yeah. And then even when the Witch King comes, even after the Witch King's fall, you would think, oh, they're going to win. No, they still were going to lose. They were definitely going to lose. They had reinforcements from the coast. And this is what Aragorn's play is what actually saves them. And they don't have the Ghost Army in the actual book. It stops all the pirates and the Corsairs and everything. That's what stops them right at the coast there. And Aragorn comes in. Now they've got reinforcements, and this is how they win that battle. Other than that, they were
close thing. Like, it's still a hell of a slog for them to win. Yeah. Oh, like the Ghost Army in the film. I hated that so much.
I hated it so much too. But I was like, I'm not even going to argue with anybody, whatever. Like, I understand it. Like, I understood that one. That one, I was mad, but I completely understood, because I would have been like, people would have lost their mind.
I don't even think it was necessary for them to do it. I still think they could have been, Aragorn uses the Ghost Army to defeat the Corsairs and that. And then he turns up on the boat with reinforcements from the cities that the Corsairs had been attacking, and they come up and they change the tide of the battle. I just don't think the Ghost Army, because it looked terrible. In terms of the story, it was terrible. It made that huge sacrifice that Theoden and Rohan have just done, made it completely, they didn't need to do that. If they just waited a bit longer, they'd have all been fine. And it was just, I hate it so much, and I don't think it was necessary. They could have had Aragorn turn up with other human reinforcements.
With the Rangers, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I guess they would have had to display the Grey Company and all of this.
Like, they didn't even need to do that. Literally, I think they still could have just had the three of them go to the Paths of the Dead. And as I say, the reinforcements come from the cities where
they could have shown the Stone of Eric. They didn't have to explain it, but they could have shown it.
Showing it, just give us
something. Give us something.
But yeah, they could have just turned up from reinforcements from the cities where the Corsairs. So they jump off the boat, and it's just more soldiers that come with them. Doesn't even have to be the Grey Company, but I'm never gonna get over that. That is one change that I'll never like, because it was just so bad in so many ways.
I don't like that they took out the mustering of Gondor. Like, that was a really cool thing to see, because people think Gondor is Minas Tirith. Minas Tirith is just the one city. Gondor is actually behind the mountains. Like, people don't realize that. Like, of the land, there are lands before, obviously, but really the main brunt are like, Dol Amroth, Lebanon, all of those places beyond are Gondor, and they mustered their strength, and they came, and Forlorn came, and Prince Imrahil. Imrahil is my guy.
I love him.
My guy. People don't know that he actually, if Denethor died, he actually was in command. Gandalf, he lets Gandalf take command because Gandalf is Gandalf, and he's a Maya, and they know, he's the one leading, but he actually would have been in charge of the city.
Yeah.
And he actually goes in charge of the city when Aragorn is deciding how he wants to go forth and do that, and they don't know that his blood is, I think his blood might be purer than Denethor's, possibly. Like his blood is very, very Numenorian. Like Imrahil is awesome.
He's got elf in him as well. I love
Yeah.
that fact about Prince Imrahil, that well, he's extra elven because he's still got the elven from Numenorian, so he doesn't have a beard like Aragorn doesn't. But like, because it was Mithralus, who was a Sylvan elf who had a child with a much earlier prince of Dol Amroth, so he's like extra elven.
Yeah, Imrahil is dope. He's the one that saves Faramir with him and Gandalf, but he's the one who saves them. And Imrahil is just dope, man. And they could have put him there. He's in there, but he's just like how Gil-galad was. You just see him for a glimpse, and it's like, who's that? And if you don't know better, you don't know. So you know, we could go on and on about the movies and what they have in there, what they don't have in there. But man, it's just so fun nerding out with you, Lee. This is exactly what I signed up for. This is what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? Callie, I know you have some questions for us. Let's get Callie into asking us questions so we can nerd out that way, because it's always fun answering questions. And Callie has a shit ton of questions always. So
well, mostly I was gonna ask if I could have some time with Lee. Would that be okay, KnewBetta, if I stole her for like 5 minutes towards the end of this podcast to talk about her amazing cosplays? So I know that one of your TikTok accounts is Lore Master stuff, and you are killing it on there. And that is awesome. But you have another account, Celestial Wanderer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Celestial_Wanderer.
There we are. I will put that one also in the description
as well.
Perfect. But like you seem to like you seem very accomplished at the cosplay thing. Do you feel like that? I'm so new, and everything is so new to me that everything wows me. But yeah, what do you feel?
I don't feel accomplished, but I think it's that thing is that the bar is getting so high in cosplay now that it's more than I can keep up with. But I'm reaching the stage where I've always done it for myself anyway, so I'm like, no, I'm happy with the level I'm at, and so it's fine. It's just it's easy to feel, can't think of the word, but like, you're not up to scratch sometimes when you see like the professional level of some cosplays, and you just need to remind yourself that mainly you're doing it for yourself, and if you're happy and enjoying it, then that's the main thing.
Yeah, some people have a lot of money and a lot of time to put into their cosplays, neither of which I have. So
no. And importantly, I think for both of us as well, a lot of health, which is certainly a lot of the issue for me, is that I'm not physically capable of putting the time and effort into it that it needs to be, that level.
Yeah, no, like I can't craft for 8 hours. That's not feasible. But you do, and I mean, I'm glad that you did bring it up, and you do cosplay and you go to conventions and stuff with your mobility aid. How is that? So I have not gone to a con yet. Haven't done one in cosplay and haven't done one with a mobility aid. So all of this is I'm looking forward to it in October, and you will be there, so we will be doing it together, which is so amazing. But yeah, like how tips, or like how do you do it? Or
it's mostly all right. I mean, I think it's a personal thing for everyone. So like you see a lot of people who've adapted their wheelchairs or whatever to be part of their costume, and that's amazing. I think that's great. For me, that's not something that I'd want to do, because I don't want to be like associated with the chair, if that makes sense. So I always have no issue with anyone else doing it. It's like, for me, if someone asks me for a photo, I will always try to stand up for the photo, and things like that, because just because I always have this thing about, I don't want to be known as the disabled woman, or the woman in the wheelchair sort of thing. But that's very much a me thing rather than a problem with anyone else and how they are. But mostly, like, it's great. Like there's been some comments, you know, people say stuff like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Doctor Who, but there's the Daleks in them, and the like the creator of the Daleks, Davros. And the amount of times people will make that joke to me of like, oh, you're gonna cosplay Davros then? And they always say it like really happily, as if they think they're the first person who's ever thought of that joke. And it's just like,
I'm sorry. That sucks.
Bad taste, bad taste.
I know they don't mean it maliciously or from a bad place, but it's just like,
it's not a good joke.
no, just please stop. Please stop. I wish I had £1 for every time I've had that kind of joke made. I'd be rich now.
Rich, yeah.
But mostly, honestly, for the most part, it's been absolutely fine. And I've never been made to feel like less of a cosplayer because I'm in the chair, or like that it detracts from my costume or anything like that. I still get people, you know, wanting to take pictures and with me or off me and things like that. And generally, yeah, it's been fine. And I mean, personally, it's amazing because without the chair, I wouldn't be able to go to them at all.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, the chair for me is freedom. So yeah.
That's awesome. I know when in the beginning I'm always like, yo, keep it lighthearted. I don't want any bad negative. Just like, come on. But Lee, when she went to London, had a little bit of a bad experience, and since we're brought up her disability, which I'm glad you did, because I wasn't comfortable letting people know without you letting people know that you had that disability. That, you know, she's in a wheelchair sometimes, you know, to move around. I don't know the extent of your disability, but I know, you know, to give you access to a lot of places you need a wheelchair. And unfortunately, which is something you can describe your experience real quick if you want. You know, we're talking about it now, so you know what, F me, let's go, let's talk about it. It needs to be talked about. I was going to try to do it in a different space, in a serious podcast, but you're here now. So, you know, the fact that Amazon didn't have a ramp or something, or whoever the constructors of the set was at the premiere, there wasn't any wheelchair access. I know that really bummed you out because you weren't able to get the full experience of seeing the creative set that they made, and that's a whole part of the thing, because they really made a giant thing of it. And I know that kind of bummed you out, and maybe we can bring awareness to that, and maybe they can do better, or know to plan better, and know to have access for everybody. They've been really accommodating and really kind and really cognizant of everything. That when I've been around them, they've been cognizant of, you know, me in my color and my trials and tribulations and things that have been going on, people sending me nasty racist things and misogyny, and they're cognizant of all of this. And I can't see them not being cognizant of that, but the slip up doesn't make it okay. And this is something we were discussing, and you know, sorry that you had to go through that, and hopefully, you know, the right people will see this and say, hey, listen, let's make sure we cover our bases and make sure we have wheelchair access, because everybody deserves to have that experience. If they were invited to go, they deserve to have that wonderful experience. Look at how big of a Lord of the Rings fan you are, the knowledge that you possess. If anybody deserves to see the set, you do. I told you I would have put you on my back and carried you up there, and we would have saw it one way or the other, but I was unfortunately in New York, you know, so I couldn't do that. But sorry that happened, and, you know, tell us your experience real quick, so we can get your story out there.
So it was predominantly seemed like a really bad organization to start with. So I was told, firstly, I was given so the different fan pens that people were going in were indicated by what color wristband you had. And because they were going to put me in the disabled pen, I ended up separated from everyone I was there with, which again, you know, detracted from the fun of it. But they told me to go to a particular place at the side of Leicester Square. So I went there, and then we were told, so there's me, some other people in wheelchairs, some people with crutches and walking sticks and stuff. And then we're told we need to be at the other side. So we had to walk like around the perimeter of Leicester Square, which, okay, I'm in my chair, so that's not too bad. But there were people with me struggling on walking sticks and stuff, and they had to walk all that way to the other side. And then once we got there, we were just sort of left. We weren't told what was going to happen. There was no seating or anything. So people ended up having to sit on the floor because they couldn't stand up for that long. And everyone we asked like what was going on, we got a different answer. No one seemed to know what was going on. And then someone turned up again and said, oh, we need to be over the other side. So we had to walk all the way. I can't believe that. Back round again to the other side. And we started going through into the set, and I got really excited. And then someone came and stopped us and said, you can't come this way, it's not accessible. So we had to go back round again. I think the people who were like walking and able to do stairs were allowed to go through, I think. But for me, I had to go all the way back round again to the front. And then I ended up eventually in the disabled pen, which also wasn't really big enough for the amount of people there. So we were very crammed in, and then also all I got to see of the set was the big flight of stairs that they built. And yeah, but then from what I was hearing from my friends who were inside, it wasn't that much better. They were talking about how they'd filled the pens with just too many people. They were all like squashed together, and it was unsafe. Other ones were telling me that they didn't understand that they hadn't actually had to go up or down any steps to get to their pen. So they didn't really understand why I couldn't have stayed with them. I mean, I think Amazon thought they were doing us a favor to an extent, because we were right by, so we were here and like the entrance to the cinema was right here. So all the, you know, the cast and famous people were coming right past us. But by the time a lot of them got to us, they weren't bothering to sign anymore, because I guess either they were being hurried along because everything was over.
The handlers, they have handlers. They're great about signing shit, just so you're clear. It's the handlers that like,
I got that because like I've seen the pictures and stuff of what they were in the main set bit and how they were with them, but some did come over. Then I had another bad experience that there was the professional autograph dealers around me as well. They were right next to the disabled people, so they were right on either side of me, and whenever someone was there, they were screaming the name of that famous person, like screaming it. And of course, as more and more people come through and there's lots of them there, there's so much shouting and screaming going on around me that apparently that triggers a panic response in me, which I didn't know about. So I had a panic attack. And then because the feeling of claustrophobia, because I've got fence there, people on either side of me, people behind me, and then a big board. So I had a panic attack. And so I got one picture with one of the cast, which was the guy who plays Theo. I can't remember his name, but he was lovely. But then it was kind of heartbreaking because other cast were in front of me. So at one point, Lenny Henry was stood right in front of me. I could hear his voice. I could see his shoes, but I couldn't even look up at him because of the way the shouting and the noise. I was like hunched there like that, and he was right in front of me. And yeah, it was just an all-round bad experience. Just, yeah, it was, yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, that sucks that happened. It sounds like a bit of it was like a mixture of bad planning. I sound like a construction issue also, like the way that they were building from the hearing the full story now. It sounds like the way they tried to build the set caused issues, and it was already done, and they, there was no proper.
There was no, I don't see why they needed to have that great big massive flight of stairs. And yeah, just the fact that they thought, okay, we'll put the disabled people there. And as I say, I think in their heads, they probably thought they were doing us a favor, but it meant that they've made this big, beautiful construction. And I didn't get to see any of it because it wasn't accessible, apparently. And it was like, I was so excited to see that. But then again, from what people who were in there have said to me, it was like, it wasn't for the fans. None of it was done for the fans. It was basically the fans were there as set dressing to look good in the videos and photos and stuff in the background of it. And that's how they felt they were treated. And when and it seemed like it had been very much misrepresented to us, and it had been misrepresented because I was there, like, supposedly I was there invited, but there was nothing different from what I had from the people who were supposed competition winners and the people who were just straight up gone on the website and applied for the tickets. There was literally no difference. So it all seemed like quite misrepresenting it. And, like, you know, you feel if you've been invited that you're going to get maybe a different experience, or if you've won a competition, you're going to get a different experience. And it wasn't. And it just, everyone said that they felt that all the fans in general were all just there to be set dressing. Like, none of that experience was made for us to enjoy. It was made to look good, and we were there, as I say, as set dressing, as part of making it look good.
I'm very sorry that you had that experience, and wow, it's really it's really heartbreaking, because I know how much you enjoy the fandom, you enjoy you probably the meeting the cast is huge.
The day before, I'd gone to Leicester Square to see them building the set, and I was so excited to get in that set. Like, I'd ended up being more excited to be inside and see that set than I was about seeing the actual episodes. So yeah, it was, but it because of the lack of organization and no one knowing where the disabled people were meant to be, and then making people struggling to walk on crutches, like basically do laps of Leicester Square, and like leaving us at one point so people were having to sit on the floor. It was so bad. And it's like, it's just another one of those things where disabled people again we're just an afterthought. You know, like, it didn't feel like when they've been planning all this, no one's actually put a lot of thought into organizing like how to, you know, what to do with us and how to organize all that. And it's yet again,
Well,
we were an afterthought.
It's, that being said, that you speaking your truth, hopefully this gets seen by the right people and they can do the proper thing and move forward in a better manner. And sometimes shitty things like this happen and things get better from it, and we're gonna hope that's the case, and say, hey, listen, you know, this debauchery that happened and was really a failure, you know, to the people that are disabled, and we're not going to do that again. We're not going to let that happen again. We're going to do better by them and by all the fans, and make sure they get to see, just like everybody else gets to see, and have the same experience, because you guys deserve it as well. So thank you so much for telling your story. It's really important that you did that. Like I said, I wanted a lighthearted thing. I always do, because we get into some heavy things, and I'm just like, yo,
that's totally my fault.
we get into some heavy things, and it's not that I don't like talking about them. I just, sometimes I'm like, yo, let's just smile. Let's be happy.
This is a fantasy podcast.
Nothing against the bad things. We can talk about them, but do we got to talk about it every time? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's have one happy episode. But then again, I'm reminded, and I always get slapped in the face, that, yo, it's not about, you know, me. It's and these things happen, and it's important, you know what I'm saying? And I end up feeling bad at the end, because I'm like, I'm not saying it out of like that I don't care. I just want, you know, sometimes, you know, you just want the lightheartedness. And
no, I get it. I totally get it. And I think as well, after we've been saying how stressed we've been with how things have been, that
we're always dealing with shit like that. Like, I'm always got somebody, like, I'm sure you can speak to it, Kali, you can speak to it. You're women, you're a disabled woman, and you're a woman of color. It's like compounded. Like, I'm an African American Tolkien lore master fan. People be talking crazy to me, especially with these dude bros. They be like, you effing N-word, this, that, and the third, and, you know, they go in your thing, and I be laughing it off, but sometimes it's aggravating. And then I'm arguing with people, and they're telling me, oh, this is, they're basically trying to write you out of being able to be anybody that looks like you in something, like to have that feeling like somebody hates you so much to where they're like, no, this impossible, like just erasing you, like, no way, you know what I'm saying? And then, oh, Galadriel can't be strong. Why is she stronger than the men? Like, what are you talking about? Like, a bunch of nonsensical nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's like dealing with that every day. And then we're doing a podcast, and I'm like, all right, we could let's talk about these issues, bring them to the forefront. But damn, I want to get all something. I want to be lighthearted sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I mean by that. But then, like I said, I get reminded that, hey, these things happen and they need to be talked about. And as much as it sucks that they happen, it's actually a good thing that we get them off of our chest and bring it to light. And
talking about them is the only way to try and stop it happening again.
Yeah.
So like trying to get this feedback back to Amazon in this case is the only way that Amazon will know in future that they need to do better, basically. Yeah. But I would like to add that, so that whole part of it was a really bad experience. But after the screening, I ended up with a group of people. I don't know how I ended up with them because I didn't know any of them, but there were some people from Fellowship of Fans and someone from the OneRing.net and some others, and we ended up going out for a meal and drinking. And that was a brilliant experience because it was just this group of nerds, and we're sitting there and we're just talking about the episodes and talking in general. And that saved the day for me, honestly, awesome. Because I just had so much fun with those guys.
I'm glad to hear that.
It was brilliant. So it ended on a positive note.
That's good. And full disclosure, like I said, the truth be told, and people can believe me or don't believe me, I really don't care. Amazon is actually really good, and I'm sure that they will work to fix this. They are really good at that. Like they dropped the ball this time, of course.
Well, I won't go into too much detail, but the night before, I was stuck in like an awkward situation, and Amazon solved it for me, and they were very good and they were very generous, and they sorted me out, and I'm very grateful to them for doing that for me. So I know that they are very much capable of, getting it right. So I know there was no malice in it, and I just hope that they'll be open to the feedback for next time, because I know that they want, everything to be good for everyone. So yeah. Yeah,
exactly. They do, and like I said, they dropped the ball, or it was whatever they messed up, but I think they'll make it right, and I think that going forward, we'll see a different effort from them on their part with disabled people and all peoples, and that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we have these uncomfortable conversations sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because they need to be had. So I'm going to default to Kali there, because Kali's always willing to do that, whereas I cringe away from it sometimes. It's like, oh, let's just be nice, but Kali is on it at all times, and that's why she's the boss.
Do you have a question for our guest today, KnewBetta?
Absolutely, I have a question for our guest. So, Lee, if you could marry anyone from the Lord of the Rings, any race at all, who would it be? If you could have someone protect you, who would it be? And then if you could fight somebody, who would it be? Any race, Maiar, Valar, elf, dwarf, man, hobbit, cat, dog, whatever. It doesn't matter. So who would you marry? Who would you have protect you? And who would you fight?
Okay. Marry Maedhros. Easiest question I've ever answered.
Oh, word, a Maedhros simp. Okay. That's a new one.
Yeah, absolute love of my life. I don't know what, but even when I first read the Silmarillion when I was 13, I fell in love with him, and I still love him as much. I've got like pictures of him on the wall in my living room and everything. He is not just a black and white character. He has depth, and I feel for him, and I'm like, damn, man, I don't hate this guy, even though he did these terrible things. I know he was trying, whereas Celegorm and Corfin is like, fuck you. I hate you. But Maedhros and Magor, they are struggling. So, Maedhros. So I think we need to do a whole podcast just talking about the Sons of Feanor, because there is so much to talk about with them.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah, marry would be Maedhros. Protect. I don't know. I think Maedhros would actually do a pretty good job of that as well.
Oh yeah, he fought with a white hot fire after he lost his arm.
And they say he became better with his left hand than pretty much
than he was with his right.
Yeah, so like he'd fill that role as well. Who would I like to fight? I mean, there's a lot of people I'd like to like. punch in the face. Okay. You can hate me, but person I want to punch in the face, Turin.
I don't hate you. I hate Turin.
Okay. Oh, good.
I am one of the Turin haters. I hate that man. I hate him.
Yes.
Oh my God.
There was a reason we got on.
Yes. I hate Turin Tarumbo.
Yeah.
He's such a prick.
He's so stupid as well.
He's so stupid. He just doesn't listen to his heart.
What?
He's his biggest problem. It's like he's wearing these gigantic clown shoes. He keeps tripping over and he just refuses to take them off. And he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like, because you're doing dumb shit. Why are you listening to a dragon? Why are you listening to the dragon?
Take responsibility. So like after what he did to Cyrus in Doria, right? Which I know Cyrus had been a twat to him, but he still stripped him naked and ran him off a cliff. Bit extreme. But then because all the elves simp for Turin so much, and I don't understand it, but he does that. And then instead of being like, oh yeah, I've done this, I need to take responsibility for my actions now, he runs off.
Like a sucker, yo.
And it turns out Thingol wouldn't have done anything to him anyway because they all simp for him so much. But yeah, instead of taking responsibility, he just runs off. And a lot of
Beleg, they beat Beleg up when he come in and he's like, sorry, like, I'm still not coming back. Like, what? I just took an ass whooping for you after looking for you.
The amount of people who defend him and say, oh, it's just because he's cursed. And it's like, no, it's not all just because he's cursed. A lot of it's because he's just bloody stupid.
He's an asshole, yeah.
Like the bridge, I'll never get over the bridge. As long as I live, I will never get over that bridge.
I cannot. This is why I hate Ordrev. He's a bum. He's a bum. He's a bum. He's a bum. He's a bum.
This is another thing. It's like it's why I don't forgive Beren as well, because he got Finrod killed, which is bad enough. But if Finrod had still been there, there's no way in hell Finrod would have got rid of that bridge.
This is our anonymity. This is how we
build the bridge. And Finrod would be like, what the hell are you talking about, you idiot? There's a reason we want to stay hidden. Why would we build a bridge there and announce where we are?
And now Glaurung had a way to get into Nargothrond. He would have had to cross over the river before he wasn't going to do that. He's a dragon.
He laid out the red carpet for him.
Yes, exactly. This is what I'll be talking about. Like Turin is crazy. Like he goes and then he kills Brada. He kills Brada and leaves the people to their fate. Now they're going to get the backlash of what he did. And they're like, yo, dude, get out of here, yo. You're wilding. Why did you do that?
Talk about hating Meme, the petty dwarf, right? And yeah, Meme has his issues, but how can you blame Meme for what he
killed
does?
His son
after what they did to him?
Murders his son, moves into Meme's house and basically treats Meme as a slave.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you really blame Meme for doing what he did?
You're subjecting him to, he hates elves.
Yeah.
Then you subjected him to Beleg, which is not Beleg's fault. It's your fault. They called it the House of Ransom.
Yeah.
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 Like,
they treat him like a slave in his own house. They murder his son. It's like, seriously?
And Nargothrond is
root bread.
Originally, they did own Nargothrond originally. He's not really wrong. He's just, you're looking at it from a story point of view, and you're like, oh, he's a bad guy, clearly. Yeah. But he really wasn't really bugging like that. You know what I'm saying? He did some sly shit, but he had bits of right. Man.
Also, the thing about Meme and the petty dwarfs hating elves, bear in mind as well, people, the Sindar used to hunt them.
Yes.
The Sindar hunted the petty dwarves because they thought they were animals, which also raises a very, very, very dark question. Like, if they were hunting them because they thought they were animals.
What did they do with them?
What else? Yeah. Were they? All right. Well, this was a fun end of the discussion.
On that bombshell.
On that, we will do the social media wrap up. Nobody is going to be looking for Turin.
He stabbed Beleg. No, we're going back. He stabbed Beleg. Listen, I simp for Beleg more than I simp for Sam Gamgee. Beleg is that dude.
Yeah.
Beleg might be like one of the greatest of they beat him up. He still comes. He's like, yo, nah, it's good. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. I'm not even going to say no. I could go tell Thingol what these outlaws did and we can hunt them down and they bring you back. But I'm not even going to do that. I ain't going to say nothing about it. Yo, give me a sword. He takes the cursed sword. He's like, it's a good sword anyway. You know what? Whatever. He's fighting. He's doing everything. Yo, listen, you ain't going to join me? All right, fine. I'll join you. He could have been good. He could have went back. He's being a good friend. Boom, they capture you. He finds you. He rescues. Yeah, oh my God, man. He
I deserved a better friend than Turin.
Deserved a better friend. You pricked me in the dark. I thought you was an orc. I don't care, man. Pay attention what you're doing. You stabbed one of the greatest elves ever, man. This man survived the near Neanthanoidia. You know how hard that was?
Yeah.
To survive that? He survived it. Like, and now he dies because you stab him in the dark and tar Nufuan. Like, get the fuck out of here. I hate him. I hate Turin.
Okay.
And he gets my man killed.
We're still going.
Finduilis gets killed because of him.
Yep.
And he was treating her like Aragorn was treating Eowyn in the movies. Straight up ignoring her. Then he's yelling at Gwyndor like it's Gwyndor's fault when Gwyndor saved his life. He was betrothed to Finduilis. So why wouldn't he be salty? It's not like he's bugging. He was betrothed to her. Like you can't be mad at him for being mad. You can't be. And you're yelling at him, and then you're like, he's not forward and battle. Everybody's looking at him crazy. You're not even holding him down like a good friend. A good friend would be like, nah, stop talking to my man like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he was against you in the councils. Gwyndor had said, don't build a bridge. He said, don't build a bridge. And he was right.
Yeah.
And you got him killed. You got him killed because you let freaking Glaurung come with the. It's just no.
Oh,
and
no.
you still, what's the name? You get the freak out of here, man. This guy.
We've upset KnewBetta.
Yo, he's a bum, bro. He's a bum. He kills Glaurung. And then he got to start talking shit to him and retrieve his soul. You killed him. Just walk away, dude. Walk away. You killed him. You just killed a dragon. Just go. Why are you talking shit to the dragon for? And that's what you get. That's why the blood splatter in your hand, you fainted, and that's what you freaking get. Talking shit. My man that went with him, brave enough to go with him, got smashed in the head with a rock. Like, get out of here. You're a bum. Everybody that is near you dies and has a terrible fate. You're an asshole. I hate her. Oh my God, he bothers my soul.
God, I thought I had strong feelings about Turin. No, I agree with you. And yeah. A lot of people love him and think he's amazing and get very defensive whenever I say I hate him, but
what? Even the dude, what's his name at the end? The dude with the messed up foot.
Oh yeah, I can't remember his name, but
he's looking from his perspective. That's what happened, and you kill him. He was telling the truth. Even the sword said, "Yeah, you killed him for no reason, dude."
Yeah.
The sword was mad at you for killing Bele.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill you because you killed my master. Like, it really was Bele's sword. Like, you just took the shit. No, I can't fuck with Turin. I just can't. I'm sorry. I had to hijack the end of this show for the hate of Turin.
Yeah, Turin would be the one I would fight because I would like to punch him in the face. For all the reasons the KnewBetta listed there.
And then the juxtaposition of Turin and Hurin. Hurin kept it a G. He kept it a buck. He was a stand-up dude. Anything that he did, you cannot blame Hurin. Even when he got mad at Thingol with the Nauglamir and all that, like, even though it was Morgoth like influence and shit like that, he still wasn't wrong. Like, he wasn't wrong. Like, it's not like Turin where he's making these rash decisions. Like, he did not tell. He was in jail for what 20-some years, 30 years. He was in jail for, and he still never snitched. He could have easily been like, yeah, man, it's that direction or something, or he could have easily did that. He yelled. He did not know somebody was following him. That was not his fault. He did not know. He was looking for Turgon's help, which he should have got help. And Turgon did make the right decision. He just happened to be gone by the time. So let's make sure we don't yell at Turgon, because how's he supposed to know? He's like, yo, I don't know. He let him out, and that was Morgoth's plan. So Turgon wasn't wrong for thinking that. And then he said, you know what, fuck it. Turgon always been good. Turgon's a good king too. Turgon's always been a good king. He made one bad decision when he didn't listen to Olmo. But besides that, but Hurin is a stand-up guy, man. Stand up all the way around. Meme, you killed my son. What you think you're getting about this? Nah, bomb, killed him. Get out of here, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had to go see his wife die. Like, he had to like get out of here, bro. That's got to make him feel like, man, this is craziness, man. It's just touring is a crybaby comparatively. He really could have had a good life. Really, if you think about it, he was Gucci. He would have been fine.
Yeah. Even after he killed Cyrus, if he'd just gone back to Menegroth, he would have been fine. Because as I say, Thingol weren't going to punish him.
Yeah, Thingol was like, nah, that's my guy right there.
Fine and dandy.
Touring. Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry.
That was an excellent and very animated ending to our podcast today. Can we get the recap of socials? Yes. So, Lee, where can we find you online?
I am on TikTok for Tolkien as SilmariLeanne. And also, for my cosplay stuff, it's Celestial_Wanderer, which is also my Instagram handle. And I can't remember what I am on Twitter. I think it's Celestial Wanderer, but without the last R because it wouldn't fit in. But yeah, that's my Twitter.
Perfect. I will make sure to put all of that in the description of the video so people can click on it and follow you. And I am KaliCosplay on TikTok and really just TikTok. KnewBetta, where are you at these days?
TikTok, KnewBettaDoBetta. You can find me on all platforms at KnewBettaDoBetta, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Reddit, all of that. Just look up KnewBettaDoBetta and you will find me. Actually on Reddit, I think I'm Mayhem, MAYHAMN, but whatever. Yeah, guys, so check me out. Make sure you please go check out Lee. Her stuff is magnificent, extremely well thought out, extremely well said. Literally my favorite. I always have to tell her that. So thank you for being you. Kali, do you have any parting words for us?
I do. I have just a little self-care tip for how to be in the moment, because it's something that I struggle with for sure. So the first thing to do is to stop, take a deep breath, and do a body scan, and then do an environment scan. What's around you? Tap into your senses. What are you smelling? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Really just try to place yourself where you are now. Accept your environment as it is and not as you want it to be or as things in your mind are. Just accept things as they are. Make your routines more mindful. So being more aware of when you're doing basic things like eating or walking, and just being there when you're doing that. And of course, deep breathing always helps us with the moment. So yeah, go ahead and give that a try next time you're somewhere and you just can't feel like you can be there and enjoy it. Try to think of these tips and enjoy what you're doing.
Absolutely. It's great advice, guys. So we're going to leave you on that note. We will be back next episode. Next episode, we have the Star Wars tier is going to be on the episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we're going to have a Star Wars crossover.
And hopefully we can get Jenna back in here. Yeah. And that would be like a wonderful episode. That's going to be real fun. Also, someone that came with me to the special screening in New York. Love their content. They're getting into Lord of the Rings, so that's really exciting. It's like a juxtaposition compared to Lee, who knows everything. They are learning stuff, so I get to be teaching. So we might have to invite Lee back into that one too. We might have to see if we can fit you in there. Maybe we'll see. We'll see your schedule. We know you're a busy person. You're probably busy eating tea and crumpets and things like that. So. All right, guys, we are out of here. Thank you for joining us for Voices of Arda. We are out of here. Peace.
Thank you.